Welcome friends, my name is Ren, and today I'll be turning my cats into D&D characters. Before we get started, I just want to say a quick thank you to all of you new subscribers. I'll keep my updates short. If you want to keep up to date on the progress of my videos, I post frequently in my community tab that you can follow by turning on channel notifications. I post a lot of cute cat photos and work in progress art pieces. It's fun over there. Secondly, I'm going back to the general goal of 1 to 2 videos a month, as my last video is a perfect example of why weekly uploads aren't sustainable for me, considering the current state of my health. But I hope to focus on keeping the quality of my videos high, even though I can't make them as frequently as I'd like. I also have some fan art and comic news at the end of the video, so stay tuned. Gosh, that feels so cool to say. First off, let's start with my Grey Panther and talented little squeaker thief. You know her, you love her, Misty! She is a very mischievous cat that eats everything in sight and will attempt to steal anything she finds interesting if she thinks she can get away with it. And even when she's caught red-handed, she will act like she got away with it. I refer to Misty as a rogue and a thief constantly, so you know I had to make her as such in D&D. For these 3 characters, I decided to give myself a baseline of all of them being tabaxi at level 5. And don't worry, this time I remembered to add armor. Let's talk about her build briefly, and then I'll talk about the art. I used the simple stat roller for all of these, and I got really lucky with Misty. She got a 19 in Dex, with proficiency in sleight of hand and stealth, as well as the mobile feat. I gave her a rapier and some daggers, but the flavor will be her using her claws. As for her design, I knew in the beginning I wanted to give Misty a very chaotic and edgy look, because she's quite the little risk taker herself. Early on, I had you guys pick between 2 hairstyles, and I went with the short hair without blunt bangs. This was my first exercise in finding my new art style, and while the hair was really hard to get right, I'm still happy with how it came out. For her outfit, I went with a classic assassin-style getup with an underbust harness and a bunch of leather bands. She reminds me of Kitty Softpaws from Puss in Boots, and I'm very into it. Next up, we have Tic Tac, our powder-puffed, fickle and feisty lap cat. Tic Tac is a smaller but heavier cat, and during playtime you'd think she was Po from Kung Fu Panda. So of course I had to make her a boxer.
Real quick, when I do say powder puffed, I do mean declawed. And yes, declawing cats is very harmful and unethical. Tinkerbell and Tic Tac were both declawed before research around it had become more well known, and we really didn't know it was bad for them at the time, but we haven't declawed cats since then, thankfully. Misty quickly learned to not use her claws when she and Tic Tac play fight, and she's very careful to be gentle, which is really good.
In classic boxer fashion, I made Tic Tac a battlemaster fighter with an unarmed fighting style. She also got proficiencies in athletics, insight, intimidation, and perception. When it came to her art, it was difficult. If you'll notice in the Speedpaint, there was a lot of trial and error before I gave in and accepted that this piece wouldn't be up to my standards, and that was okay. This is 2023, I'm trying to let go some of the perfectionism. I'm trying, this is a step. I didn't have a clear picture of an idea. I kinda just did my best. Tic Tac is neat and ladylike, but incredibly sassy and feisty. So I gave her a bobbed haircut with blunt bangs because it seemed like a good fit for her. Then I made her outfit different tones of orange to complement the navy. Gave her some white boxing gloves to reference her little fluffy fists, and called it a day. They can't all be winners, I guess. Even though I'd like them to be. Okay, I've saved the best for last. I'd like to introduce my first cat and best friend of 10 years, Tinkerbell. She was in my life from the ages of 7 all the way through 17, and was the closest person in my life while she was here. Before passing during quarantine, that is. I just want to quickly make a point and say I don't want to see any comments devaluing my friendship with Tink just because she was my cat and not a human. I spent 6 months caring for her while she was deteriorating from cancer, which devastated me for over a year afterward. She was my only source of emotional support until high school, and her life and death are very real to me. That being said, I want to do my best and give Tink the kind of D&D build and character design I thought would honor her best. So being that she was an intelligent and graceful cat with a charming nature, you know I had to make her a College of Glamour bard with proficiency in acrobatics, deception, insight, persuasion, and sleight of hand. Good lord, bards have a lot. Her full spell list is in her character sheet down in the description, but I basically chose a mixture of social spells like Gift of Gab, crowd control spells like Sleep, and targeted spells like Dissonant Whispers. In terms of her character design, I was aiming for a very classic enchantress vibe. The reason I named her Tinkerbell was because her fur was the same color as pixie dust. She had green eyes, and she loved bells. Also, I was 7, and I wanted to incorporate these elements into her design, so I gave her an elegant green gown with a leg slit for the drama, and a quarterstaff with a large bell on the end. I also added multiple bows and bells to keep the theme running. If you'll notice, she's holding a rose, which may seem out of place, but I have a good reason for this. Tink's favorite treat was rose water. Not distilled rose water, but water with rose petals floating in it. She was our little princess, and she took that title to the heart. All in all, this was a very fun challenge to do, and it gave me an opportunity to draw some characters in a sort of beta version of the art style I'm trying to design. Which, speaking of, look at it! Look how close I'm getting! Isn't it cool? They're the protagonist of my queer romance comic, which has a title now, by the way. It's called Her Violet Hands, and it's the jock ex-nerd trope, but sapphic. I'm still working on the story, and I'm teaching myself Clip Studio Paint, but it will be the first comic I make to get my bearings on the medium. A shorter story, maybe 60 pages or so, I haven't decided yet. Still working out some story kinks. In addition to cool things, I got my first piece of fan art. Look! Look at this beautiful picture Joshua made! Look at how nice it is! Look at how talented he is! Ah. When I got this a bit ago, it made me really happy that someone, took the time out of their day to draw me? Me? Little old me? They took their time to draw me! And I still look at it whenever I'm losing motivation. It was just a really nice thing to see in my inbox. Thank you, Joshua. I'm making heart hands for you. Thank you very much. I really appreciated it. In other news, I'm planning for my next video to be a story time, specifically on weird Florida things. I have 2 new different formats I want to try out. Namely, I want to try, instead of making animated story times, I want to tell storytime videos through comic panels, because I'll be real, animating made me want to commit a war crime. However, that being said, I do love making comics, so why not tell stories through comics? Yeah, right? I'm a bit nervous, but I'm still excited to see what people will think. Also, thank you for being patient while I was on a hiatus this month. So much was going on, and thankfully I'm back in a place where I think I can comfortably record and work on videos again. And I'm excited to keep making stuff, but I'm also gonna take your advice and not push myself super hard and break things. For now though, stay hydrated, stay safe, and be yourselves. Ciao!